त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Dear friends, we are in this 24th shloka of 5th adhyaya. 24th shloka I just read out in the last class and broadly explained the general meaning. This shloka is like this: Yo antas sukhaha antararamaha tatha antarjyotireva yaha sa yogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutaha adhigacchati. So that was the shloka. It means yaha yogi. That we are in the context of a jnani. This particular portion of the say adhyaya is talking about a sannyasi who is a jnani. So this gentleman, he is an antas sukhaha. That is, he derives happiness from within. Then antararamaha, all his activity is within himself. Within himself means he is in that Brahma awareness where he is constantly thinking about all his chitta vritti, all his say mental activities. All our normal man's mental activities will be moving all around on all external objects, whereas this man's all the chitta vrittis, all the faculties of the mind, they are always on that, in that Brahman awareness. So antararamaha, the entire activity is inside. Yo tatha antarjyotireva. So his light is within. He is not looking after the external, he is not looking outside. His light is within. So that again he is going to explain what is the antarjyoti, etc. Antarjyotireva yaha sa yogi, that particular yogi, brahma nirvanam. Brahma nirvanam means nirvana, the word nirvana, moksha, say these are equivalent terms. Nirvana means moksha. Brahmani nirvrutihi. Brahmani eva. Say that we can't say merging in Brahman because it looks as though one entity is merging in some other entity. It is not exactly merging, but losing one's own identity in the identity of Brahman. So that may be a better way, because you are thinking that you are a separate being. The wave is thinking that the wave is a separate entity. So suddenly the wave realizes that it is not a wave, it is nothing but ocean. It is ocean, not even a part of the ocean, it is ocean, it is water, let us say. Not even ocean, it is water. So that is that awareness, is that Brahma Nirvana, that is losing one's identity in the identity of Brahman. Brahma Nirvanam, Brahma Bhutaha Adhigacchati. Brahma Bhutaha means Brahmaivasan. We say that mantra, Brahmaivasan Brahmapyeti. So you remember that mantra? In Sandhyavatana we say Brahmaivasan Brahmapyeti evam Veda asavadityo Brahma. So that mantra. So like that Brahma Bhutaha, Brahmaivasan, he is already a Brahma. That is Jivaneva Brahma. He is a Jivan Mukta. While alive, while being alive, he is in that Brahman awareness. So this is the overall meaning of the shloka. We have to read the bhashyam. Let's read it. Yo antas sukhaha antaratmani sukham yasya antaha atmani sukham yasya saha antas sukhaha. So this antaha atmani eva sukham yasya saha. Atmani eva, that is within himself. Within himself means we all derive say happiness or unhappiness, whatever it is, from the external objects, because the indriyas, they are the things which go out and then they throw light on external things. But here the indriyas are not going out. Here it is a case of pratyahara. Pratyahara, it is a technical term used in Yoga Shastra, Patanjali's Yoga. Pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses from the sense objects. So he is a yogi, he is a jnani who has achieved that state of pratyahara. He has withdrawn his indriyas. So his sukha is inside only. Antaha atmani. Antaha means inside. Atmani means in oneself. We should not read it as antaratma, because in Telugu antaratma means a different meaning. we use the word in a very loose way. So that is why sukhaha antaha atmani sukham yasya. We should read like that. Antas sukha. Tatha antareva atmani आरामः आक्रीडा यस्य Saha Antararamaha.
Saha Antararamaha.
Arama, the meaning of word Arama is Krida, Akrida, that is sport. Sport means an activity. Activity, just moving around, thinking about something. Activity, what is activity? Mind's activity is thinking on various issues. Thinking on various issues, whether they are personal or outside or social, whatever it is, all types of issues they will be thinking about. So that is the activity, that is the Aramaha or Akrida of the mind. Mind's akrida is always on say various things which are seeing either in personal life or in society. So this is the akrida. But here this man's akrida or arama is within oneself. So that is whatever that Upanishad Vakyas he has studied, and then whatever mananam and whatever scheme of say that mananam he has to do, yuktibihi anuchintanam mananam, isn't it? So he has to logically evaluate them and logically say go about say evaluate and think about them. So that process is that aram, that is the akrida which he is having. Tatha Antararama tathaiva Antaha Atmaiva Jyotihi Prakashaha Yasya Saha Antarjyotireva. So he says Antaha tathaiva Antaha. Antaha means inside. Atmaiva Jyotihi. Atma itself is the Jyoti. This Jyoti is one word which we have to take carefully, because on this Jyoti there are lot has been written in the Upanishads. In Brihadaranyaka there is a whole Brahmanam, a whole chapter called Jyotir Brahmanam. What is it that illumines everything? That Jyotir Brahmanam, it is a very big Brahmanam on which Shankaracharya has written a very elaborate commentary. Then Shankaracharya has written one shloka on this Jyoti. What is your Jyoti? What is the light which illumines you from inside? So that shloka is a very famous shloka called Eka Shloki. Have you heard about it? Eka Shloki. So Eka Shloki is for a sadhaka to recapitulate. It is a sort of manana shloka, or it is a type of nididhyasana shloka, let us say. It is a type of nididhyasana shloka where it is in the form of question and answers. The shloka, there are several shlokas in Sanskrit like that. There is a question, there is an answer, there is a question and an answer, all put together, it is all in the form of one shloka. So this shloka starts, Kim Jyotistava. So what is it that is your light? Bhanuman Ahanime. Bhanuman means during day it is the sunlight, whatever it is. Bhanuman Ahanime. So that is the answer. Kim Jyotistava. What is it that shows light to you? That is during day it is sunlight. Ratrau, in the night, Pradipadikam, like lamp, etc. Then what is it that the next question is Syadevam. Okay, it may be so. Then Ravideepa Darshana Vidhau Kim Jyoti Rakhyahime. So what is it that is actually showing you, showing that sunlight and also showing the lamp light? What is it? That is Chakshuhu. My eye is there. My eye is it. This is my eye which is actually seeing the sunlight, which is actually seeing the moonlight or lamp light. Then Tasya Nimilanadi Samaye. Okay, suppose you close your eyes. You close your eyes, still there are so many things which are say appearing in front of you in the mind's eye, let us say. What we say, the mind's eye. In that mind's eye, you are able to see so many things, you are able to recall so many things, you are able to visualize certain things. So all these things, then what is it? What is it that is illumining your mind, that is illumining your chakshu? Then dhihi, mind. That is the mind. Mind is what is there which is functioning. Then dhiyor darshane kim. What is it that sees the mind? What is it that illumines the mind? What is the thing that, what is that say light which is actually illumining the line, illumining the mind? Then tatra aham. Kim tatra aham. Aham means I. That I is the thing which is illumining. I, what is that I? That Shuddha Chaitanya, which is nothing but I am, nothing but me. That is what is illumining. So in the Vedanta, there is a lot of discussion on what exactly is this Jiva. Antahkaranam we know. Antahkaranam is what? Then the last line also says, Ato Bhavan Paramakam Jyotihi. Oh, then the teacher says, Bhavan Paramakam Jyotihi. You are that supreme Jyoti. You are that supreme light. So the student has logically answered all the questions during day, during night, and when you close your eyes. And then when you close your eyes, then what is it that shows the mind itself? The mind is the viewer, that is the druk. Then all other things are drishyam. Then the mind itself becomes a drishyam. For whom? Mind itself becomes a drishyam for that thing which is that Sakshi Chaitanya which is inside, which is actually illumining all this. So then he says, Bhavan Paramakam Jyotihi. So you are that Parama Jyoti. Then the student says, yes, Tadasmi Prabho. Yes, oh Lord, I am that. So he tells the Guru, oh, I am that Asmi, that Jyoti. So on this Jyoti, on this point of Jyoti, this analogy, let us say, this analogy of Jyoti is discussed in very great detail in our, say, Upanishads. So then this Jiva, what exactly is Jiva also, a lot has been written about. What is the meaning of, say, Antahkarana. Antahkarana, we know, according to Vedanta, Antahkarana is a Jada Padartha. Nayayikas, Tarkikas, etc. Tarkika means these logicians. They say that intelligence is produced in the Antahkarana. So Vedanta holds that intelligence is not produced in the Antahkarana. Intelligence is something which is reflected by this Antahkarana. This Chaitanya is there, which is on this thing. Antahkarana is something like a clean mirror on which that light falls, and then it only reflects that. It reflects that light, and then we are able to see certain things. So this Antahkarana Pratibimbitam Chaitanyam, Jiva. And what is it that illumines? That what it illumines is that Sakshi. That Sakshi Chaitanya which is also there in the Antahkarana. That Antahkarana is also illumined by that Sakshi. So that is why this Sakshi and Antahkarana put together they become the Jiva. If there is an identification with this Antahkarana, identification with this body-mind complex, you call it Jiva. Suppose the Antahkarana identifies itself, this I, the whatever is that I or ego identifies itself with the Antahkarana and the body-mind complex, then it is the Jiva. Then you say, I am suffering, I am happy, I am unhappy, I am this, I am that. So when this I identifies with the Sakshi Chaitanya, identifies with the pure Chaitanya, then you are separating yourself from, like what we saw in that, say, Kathopanishad yesterday, in the one particular word was used. Pravruhya dharmyametat. That is, with great effort you are supposed to extricate it. You are supposed to pull it out. Your ego, you have to pull it out from this body-mind complex and identify with a greater thing. Don't identify with this body-mind complex, you identify with a greater thing. That is what that mantra says. Pravruhya dharmyam anumetamapya. Something like that we read yesterday. So like that, this Antahkarana is something a Jada. That is what Vedanta says. Jada means inert. Intelligence is not produced here, but this intelligence is due to this Chaitanya which is reflected on it. So that is the say analysis of a Jiva. So here, what is it? Antasukha antararama. So Atmaiva Jyotihi Prakashaha Yasya Saha Antarjyotireva. So this man realizes that he is that light. The same light which is illumining all other things. The same thing we are again and again coming back to. What is that? Gayatri mantra. Dhiyaha yonaha prachodayat. Bhargo devasya dhimahi. What is that Bharga? Varenyam Bhargaha. Bhargaha is that brilliance. Bhargaha devasya Varenyam Bhargaha. That supreme Varenya is Sreshta. Sreshta means that which is what should we say? Something which is praiseworthy. That praiseworthy illumination which is illumining all our minds. So that is ultimately we are coming back to that Gayatri mantra only almost every day. So Antarjyotireva ya idrushaha sa yogi brahma nirvanam brahmani nirvrutim moksham iha jivanneva brahmabhutassan adhigacchati prapnoti. So he is saying Jivanneva moksham iha. Where is it? Sayogi brahmanirvanam brahmabhuto adhigacchati. Brahmabhutaha, the word he is explaining, brahmabhutaha means having become Brahma himself. Brahmabhutaha, brahmaiva san, Jivanneva brahmabhutaha san. While alive, while being alive, he is in that state of Brahma. Because he has eradicated all these distinguishing features. What are these distinguishing features? Identification with this body-mind complex, thinking that this is my house, this is my wife, my son, my my things. I am this. I have this identity and whatnot. He has eradicated all those distinguishing features, and then he is in that state of Brahman awareness. And then whatever he does, even if he may be doing something, whatever he does is only for the universal good. So that sort of person, he is in that state of Brahma Bhuta. Then Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam. This word also is being explained. Brahmani Nirvrutim. Brahmani Nirvruti. Nirvruti means, that is, Nirvana and Nirvruti are one and the same. Nirvana, that is absolutely unmoving state. And then Nirvruti, Brahmani Nirvruti, Shankaracharya is giving moksham. That is the meaning given. Moksha. Moksha means what? Total liberation from all types of shackles, all types of mental bondages. Then dissolving yourself in the Brahman. Dissolving also may not be a proper word, because dissolving means you are visualizing some liquid, and in this and in that you are thinking about something which gets dissolved in that. So this is a solvent. This is not a solvent also. We should not even say dissolve. That is just losing your identity, as that wave image we were talking about. So wave realizes it is nothing but the ocean, it is nothing but the water ultimately. So that is it. So Brahmani Nirvruti, that is losing oneself in Brahman, losing oneself in that, and then losing your identity in Brahman. That is what is moksham. Iha jivanneva brahmabhutasam adhigacchati prapnoti. Such a man, he gets that Brahma Nirvanam. So that is it. Next, Kincha. Next shloka. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam.
Labhante Brahma Nirvanam.
Rushayah Kshina Kalmashaha. Chinnadvaidhayatatmanah. Sarvabhuta Rataha. So he is talking about such people. Yaha antasukhaha antararami. In singular number he has told in the earlier shloka, but now he is talking in plural. Labhante Brahmanirvanam Rushayah Shena Kalmashaha. Tadrushaha Rushayah. The people of that type, the people in that type which has been described in the earlier shloka. So people of that nature, say they, again the word Brahmanirvanam has been used. They means who? Rushayah. Labhante Brahmanirvanam Rushayah Kshina Kalmashaha. So he is describing those rishis. Rishi means a jnani only. Rusha, the word Rushi comes from a root called Rusha. Rusha Gatau and also Jnane. One who is a Jnani is a Rushi. So Rushayah, that is Samyak Darshi, that's what Shankaracharya is going to say. One who has a proper understanding, proper realization. Rushi. So these people, they get what? Te labhante. Labhante means they attain, they get or achieve. What? Brahma Nirvanam. They achieve this moksha. This proper Samyak Darshana is the only tool for moksha. Then what, having achieved what? Shina Kalmashas Santaha. Shina Kalmashaha. That is all their kalmashas. What is that kalmasha? Kalmasha means all these mental things, all this burden which is there accumulated on the mind. Burden, so many things, they say all this, all this chinta. All these worldly, thoughts about all these worldly, pleasures and all these worldly attachments, all these worldly bonds. So this is a sort of burden on the mind. So, and this is also called the chitta malam. Chitta malam means that is a sort of impurity on the mind. So this Kshina Kalmashaha, these people who have got rid of all that thing. How? Initially through Karma Yoga. Initially they started doing Karma Yoga. And then Karma Yoga is this, or let us say it is the stepping stone. Prior to that, it is a pure Kamya Karma. We are not talking about that man. We are starting with the starting point is Karma Yoga. That is doing a karma with an Ishwararpana Buddhi. Then from that karma Yoga itself, to some extent it gives Chitta Shuddhi, but not completely. In the sense that he will still have some Raga, Dvesha. Karma Yoga, it is only an attitude to work, isn't it? Karma Yoga, it is a particular attitude to work. You are doing a karma. It may be a Shastriya karma or a secular karma. Shastriya karma means something which has been prescribed in the Veda, suppose some yajna or something like that. Or it may be a secular karma like working in an office. There, with an Ishwararpana Buddhi, with a larger objective of thinking that you are working for the ultimate, good of the society, or for the good of universe, or for a universal order, let us say, or for the as an offering to the Lord, as we call it. So there, it is only an attitude to work. But still, you can have some raga, dvesha and all these things, isn't it? So those things, they can be, subdued, or they can be controlled by Chitta Shuddhi. Further Chitta Shuddhi is required, for which again, in the next chapter, we are going to see what is called Dhyana Yoga. So Karma Yoga, coupled with, associated with some Dhyana Yoga, that will enable you to the next step called Jnana Yoga. So that is what we are going to see. So Karma Yoga is leading to Chitta Shuddhi, but not 100%, but maybe 80%. That associated with again Dhyana will give you Chitta Shuddhi, which again will be the fittest stage for Jnana Prapti. So these are the people, Shina Kalmashaha, they have come through these stages. And then these people, Chinna Dvaidhaha, Dvaidha means, Dvi means what? Dvi means two, Dvaidha means Samshaya, either this or that. So they are in a world of duality, and then they are not able to choose between what? They are not able to have their priorities right. Samyak Darshana is what? Samyak Darshana is having your priority right. Your understanding is proper. So Dvaidha, Chinnad, so long as you are in a duality, you are still comparing, you are seeing the comparative merits of things. You are seeing whether it is this is good or whether that is good. So Chinnad Dvaidha means one who has eradicated that Dvidha bhavam, that is duality, and all that samshaya, all these doubts, etc. have been eradicated. Chinna, you know what is Chinna? That which has been cut off. It has been cut off by this, wise man. And Yata Atmanaha. Yata means Yama dhatu, Yama word. Yama niyamasana. Yama is control. Yama plus kta pratyaya becomes yata. That is that which has been controlled. Yata atmanaha. Yatani yataha. Atmaha. That is Atma has been controlled. Their self has been controlled. Self means here body mind complex. We are not talking about Supreme Atma. So Yata Atmanaha, by this Shama, Dama, etc., they have achieved that state of self-restraint. Then, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. This is again a very important word. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Why are they interested in Sarva Bhutas? Why are they interested? Means, you see, this Sarva Bhuta Hita, that is, interest in the welfare of the whole, all beings, that becomes a natural characteristic of one who sees Brahman everywhere. You see, every man loves himself. Every man loves himself. When you are able to see yourself in others, when you are able to see that the Brahman in him is the same Brahman in me, and when you are able to see yourself and then place yourself in the shoe of others, then love and compassion becomes a natural way. Love and compassion should not be with any motto. Love and compassion, suppose somebody comes and then, okay, I am giving you this, I am doing you this. So love and compassion with an agenda to win him over. So that is something business. That is not love, that is business. If you are giving something to somebody and then you are trying to win him over to your side, your party, your religion, whatever it is, that becomes business. But then this is love and compassion without any expectation, without any agenda. So this is here is a gentleman, or these are the Rishayaha, these are the wise people. This Sarva Bhuta Hita, this Ahimsa, Satyam, non-violence and love and compassion, they become a nature for them. So that is it. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. In fact, because all the social distinctions and all the distinguishing features have been removed. Because he no longer feels that he is having a particular identity. And then say all these things like the parochialism, he is from my district, he is from my caste, he is from my community, and all these things, they are all removed. So all these social distinctions and distinguishing features have been removed. Parochialism and all these ideas have been removed. When all those ideas have been removed, then what will happen? So when the duality goes, the duality disappears, then naturally what the love and compassion become his second nature, the very nature. So that is why they are Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. So that is the general shloka. Brahma Nirvanam Rushaya Labhante. Kshina Santah, having become that Kshina Kalmashaha, then Chinnadvaidhaha, Yatatmanaha, those who have got self-restraint, and Sarvabhuta Hiterataha. Let us read the Bhashyam. Labhante Brahmanirvanam
Labhante Brahmanirvanam
Moksham
Moksham
Rushayah Samyak Darshinaha Sanyasinaha
Rushayah Samyagdarshinaha Sanyasinaha
Kshina Kalmashaha
Kshina Kalmashaha
Kshina Papadi Doshaha
Kshina Papadi Doshaha
Chinnadvaidhaha
Chinnadvaidhaha
Chinna Sanshayaha.
Chinna Samshayaha.
Okay. Brahma Nirvanam. The word, the clear translation, clear meaning given is moksham. Moksha is liberation from all types of shackles. Rushayaha Samyak Darshinaha. Those who have a proper understanding of the Brahman. Then Sanyasinaha. They are also sannyasis. Then Kshina Kalmashaha. Kshina Papadi Doshaha. Kalmasha means all this Papadi Doshaha. Papa also includes Punyam. Because in the case of a Vedanti, in the case of a seeker, a spiritual seeker, Punyam also is an obstacle. We know that and we have been repeatedly seeing it. Kshina Papadi Doshaha, Papa Adi. So that Adi you can include anything, not only sin, you include all things. Kshina Papadi Doshaha, Chinna Dvaidhaha, Chinna Samshayaha. Dvaidha means Dvaidhi Bhava. Dvaidhi Bhava, whether is it this or that sort of Samshaya. So it arises only in the case of a duality. Only when you perceive duality, you see this Dvaidha, Samshaya. So when you don't see, say that duality itself, there is no Samshaya. Chinna Dvaidhaha, Chinna Samshayaha. Then Yatatmanaha,
Yatatmanaha
Sanyatendriyaha,
Sanyatendriyaha
Sarvabhuta Hiterataha,
Sarvabhuta Hiterataha
Sarvesham Bhutanam,
Sarvesham Bhutanam
Hite Anukulye,
Hite Anukulye
Rataha,
Rataha
Ahimsaka Ityarthaha.
Ahimsakaha Ityarthaha.
So, Kshina Papa Chinna Samshaya Yatatmanaha. So, Samyatendriyaha. Yata Atma. Atma means this body mind complex, this sense complex, let us say. So, the Samyata Indriyaha. Samyatani Indriyani. Yeshamte Samyatendriyaha. Those who have got their Indriyas under control. Then Sarvabhuta Hiterataha. Sarvesham Bhutanam Hite. Hite means Anukulye. Hitam we know. Hita is welfare. So they are always thinking of, of course they are not worried about that, because if they are worried about that, then again they are not Brahmanishtas. Love becomes their very nature. It is not a question of worry. It becomes a very nature. Sarvesham Bhutanam Hite Anukulye Rataha. They are always like that. Ahimsakaha. Plus, the person who is seeing Brahman everywhere, a person who is seeing himself in the other man, he will certainly not torment him. So he will not do any sort of himsa or violence on him. So this love and non-violence, they become their very nature. That is it. Then Kincha Kamakrodha Viyuktanam. So next shloka. Let us read the shloka. Kamakrodha Viyuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahmanirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. So Kamakrodha. So he is also elaborating the same thing. He is elaborating. He is going step by step. There are three obstacles in the course of a yati. Three obstacles in the course or in the path of advancement of a yati. What are those things? Number one is this chitta malam. Chitta malam is all this accumulation of dirt in the mind. And then the second is this vacillation of mind. Chitta vikshepa. That sort of vacillation of mind is another obstacle. One is an impurity, that itself is a great burden. And then again this mental vacillation is another thing. And then lack of proper understanding. Lack of proper understanding means that is avarana, what they call it, the technical word used is avarana. Avarana is that which covers something, and then it does not enable the person to see the reality. So that avarana, that is lack of proper understanding. These three are obstacles in the course of a yati. One is this chittamalam, then the second is vacillation of mind, the third is improper understanding. So that is it. So these three things are being described in this particular shloka. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. So he is talking about that first obstacle and says that this first obstacle, that Kama Krodha etc., which is called the Chitta Malam, that is the impurity of the mind, that has been removed. These people are already, they have got rid of that. They have got rid of this Kama Krodha. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Then Yatinam Yata Chetasam. So these people, they have also controlled the mind. So that is number 2. The second obstacle also is not there. Chitta Vikshepa is not there. They are all Yatayaha and Yatachetasaha. Yatayaha, that those Yati is Yamadhatu. That one who has control. Yatachetasaha, they have controlled their minds. Yatinam Yatachetasam. So that Vikshepa, that Malam is not there and Vikshepa also is not there. Then Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. That word, third thing is Viditatma. That is, they have realized that Atma. So that third obstacle of improper understanding is also not there. That improper understanding is not there. And so these people are called Vidita Atma. They have properly understood this Atma. For such people, what is happening? Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam Vartate. For them, Brahma Nirvanam. We know, we have seen that word Brahma Nirvanam. This is the third time it is coming or what? Yeah, this is the third time. So this Brahma Nirvanam, Abhitaha Vartate. Abhitaha means what? Abhitaha means all around. All around means, here of course the meaning given is in this Janma, in this Loka, and also in the subsequently. That Brahma Nirvanam, what is it say? What does it say? Ubhayataha Jivatam Mrutanam cha. There is no other Loka. There is no question of other Loka. Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam Jivatam Mrutanam cha. That is, as long as you are alive, you are a Jivan Mukta. Once you fall off, you are not going to the other world. There is no such thing as other world. You naturally become one with the Brahman, that's all. You are already one with the Brahman. Only the body falls off. Body falls off, and in such a case, what happens to the body? So there is again a discussion in Vedanta. In the case of somebody who is not a Jnani, what happens? We know that there is a transmigration. The transmigration, what is it that transmigrates in a being? That is the Linga Sharira. Linga Sharira means the body only is left behind, minus body, the other koshas. We have got this Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Leave this Annamaya Kosha, the other koshas, whatever are there, they are called the subtle body. So that subtle body is supposed to transmigrate into another body. So that is the Siddhanta. So in the case of a Jnani, what happens? In the case of a Jnani, these senses, they don't transmigrate. They merge with the larger elements. So the sense of touch merges with sparsha, that is what? Air. The sense of smell, it merges with the prithvi. The sense of taste, it merges with what? It merges with water. So like that, these 5 elements, these 5 senses, they merge in the 5 elements in the case of a Jnani. So that is what is told. Then, say, where are we? Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam. Abhitaha means the Jivatam Mrutanam cha. So once this Jnani falls or dies, the body only is left behind, whereas the Jnani, he is already with the Brahman. That is the meaning here. Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. For such people, Brahma Nirvanam is always there, it is always around. So that is it. Let us see, let us read the Bhashyam. Kincha Kamakrodha Viyuktanam Kamascha Krodhascha Kamakrodhau Tabhyam Viyuktanam Yatinam Sanyasinam Yata Chetasam Samyata Antahkarananam Abhitaha Ubhayataha Jivatam Mrutanam cha Brahma Nirvanam Mokshaha Vartate. Okay. Kincha, moreover, Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Viyukta means those who have got rid of it. Viyukta actually means dissociated. Viyoga we know. Sanyoga is union. Viyoga is separation. Viyukta is one who is separated. Viyukta is one who is separated. Kama Krodha Viyukta. That one who is separated from this errors called Kama and Krodha. Kama and Krodha arise only when you see duality. So this man, because of he has stopped seeing the duality, he has dissociated himself from this Kama and Krodha. So Kama Krodha Viyuktaha. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Then who are they? Yatinam Sannyasinam. Yati also is one word. Yati means sannyasi. Yata Chetasam. Sanyata Antahkarananam. Those who have controlled their Antahkarana. Abhitaha, that is all around. The meaning given is Ubhayataha. Ubhayataha means Abhitaha meaning is, Shankaracharya is saying it is Ubhayataha. That is both ways, in both ways. Abhitaha means all around. Ubhayataha means in two ways. What is that? Jivatam Murtanam cha. While being alive and also after the body falls off, then what happens? Brahma Nirvanam Moksha Vartate. This Brahma Nirvanam exists. It is already there. It is already existing for such a person. Then for those people. Viditatmanam. Then Viditaha Jnataha Atma Yesham.
Viditaha Jnataha Atma Yesham.
Te Viditatmanaha.
Te Viditatmanah.
Tesham Viditatmanam.
Tesham Viditatmanam.
Samyak Darshinam Ityarthaha.
Samyak Darshinam Ityarthaha.
So these are the people who are called Samyak Darshis. So Samyak Darshi is otherwise called Viditatma. Atma Viditam Viditaha Yena. So he is a Viditatma. So that man who has realized this Atma, one who has realized the Brahman everywhere. Viditatma means not only his thing. With Atma, realization of Atma means not only confined to his own body. It is confined to all the human bodies, not only human bodies, all the beings all over. And then he sees Brahman everywhere. So that is why he is a Viditatma. So then, Samyak Darshan, then the next shloka, Avatarika, there are about 1 or 2 lines. Samyak Darshana Nishthanam.
Samyak Darshana Nishthanam.
Sannyasinam.
Sannyasinam.
Sadyo Muktihi Vukta.
Sadyo Muktihi Vukta.
Karma Yogascha.
Karma Yogascha.
Ishwararpita Sarvabhavena.
Ishwararpita Sarvabhavena.
Brahmanyadhaya.
Brahmanyadaya.
Kriyamanaha.
Kriyamanaha.
Sattva-shuddhi.
Sattva-shuddhi.
Jnana-prapti.
Jnana-prapti.
Karma-sannyasa. Sarva-karma-sannyasa-kramena.
Sarvakarma Sannyasa Kramena.
Mokshaya iti.
Mokshaya iti.
Bhagavan Pade Pade Abravit.
Bhagavan Pade Pade Abravit.
Vakshyati cha.
Vakshyati cha.
So Shankaracharya also feels that Lord Krishna is saying Pade Pade. We know that we use the word Pade Pade. What is it Pade Pade? At every step. Pada is a step. Pada is a step. Pade is Saptami Vibhakti. Pade Pade means in every step. In every step, Pade, you are saying something, we say in Telugu, we use so commonly. So, Pade, Lord Krishna, Abravit. Abravit means he told. Vakshyati cha, he is also going to say. Pade, he is saying something. What is it he is going to say or what is it he has told? He told 2 things. One is, Samyak Darshana Nishthanam Sannyasinam Sadyo Muktihi. Sadhyaha Muktihi. Sadhyaha means? Sadhyaha means immediate. Sadhyaha means immediate. So the moment is there, what is the time gap between Jnana Prapti and Moksha? Jnana Prapti and Moksha, there is no time gap. Suppose there is a darkness in this room. You just come and switch on a light. So what is the time gap between your switching on a light and then dispelling of darkness? There is no time gap. The moment you throw the light, the moment you know that is a serpent, that is a snake and not a serpent, then this light is there and then your ignorance is gone. So that is why Sadhyo Mukti, it is called Sadhyo Mukti. So all your bandhanas, it is something like a sort of moment of truth where suddenly something happens, some shocking thing happens and suddenly you realize that I have been a fool all these days. It is very, very wrong on my part to think that I am the only fellow who is shouldering the burden. There are many people who feel that they are the people who are shouldering the entire burden of the world. So they feel like that. They feel that if they go away or if they just say take leave for one day or if they go on go somewhere, the whole world will collapse, the whole system will collapse. So that is a burden. That is a sort of mindset. Suddenly something shocking happens to them and everything goes on well. Even this fellow's absence, nobody bothers whether he is present or not. So things go on as they are. So he suddenly realizes, I have been a fool, I have been thinking like that. So that is a sort of moment of truth. So for an Atmagyani, it is a slightly different thing, slightly comparable to that. Atmagyani, what happens? So for one who realizes his self, this dispelling of ajnana, dispelling of ignorance, that it is instantaneous. This jnana prapti is instantaneous with this mukti, isn't it? Or rather, mukti is instantaneous with jnana prapti. So that is it. So that is why it is called sadhyo mukti, immediate. So Lord Krishna has been saying that samyak darshananishtanam sannyasinam sadhyo mukti ukta. So that is what is called, that is why it is called sakshat sadhanam. Jnanapat. What is jnanapat? Shravana manana nididhyasana, nitya vastu viveka. All these things, after attaining all these preliminary requisites, you should first of all pass this intermediate in order to get into the graduation. So this intermediate is very much required. What is that intermediate? So what is this nitya vastu viveka, vairagya, iha mutra phala bhoga viraga, sadhana chatushtaya, mumukshutvam. This is the preliminary thing. That is what is called intermediate examination. Thereafter only you can go to your IIT or medicine, whatever it is. So it is like that. So Jnananishta, then once that Jnananishta is there, you are qualified. You are qualified and then immediately you are fit for this Sadhyo Mukti. So that is it. So for them it is that. Then Karma Yogascha, then on the other hand Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? Ishwararpita Sarveshwara Bhavane Ishware Brahmani Adhaya Kriyamanaha. He is again defining, he is again elaborating that meaning. Ishwararpita Sarva Bhavena. So all his activities have been surrendered to the Lord. So Lord means, let us say simple terms, universal order, a cosmic being. So whatever activities you do, they are in consonance or in harmony with that universal order. In harmony with that as per the order of that universal being. So that is it. So Ishware Brahmani, we are talking about Ishvara and Brahma. We are not talking about the Supreme Brahma. We are talking about the cosmic level. We are talking about the Vyavaharika or transactional level. When we say Ishwararpana Buddhi, it is not, we are not talking about the Supreme Brahma, because a person who is doing Karma Yoga, he has not yet attained the knowledge of that Supreme Brahma. He is still in the say transactional level. He is still doing some yajna, yaga and all these things which are told at the level of religion, at a transactional level by the Veda. So he is at that level. So this Brahmanyadhaya means Brahmanyadhaya Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Karoti Yaha. We saw that shloka also here in the same chapter. Brahmanyadhaya Karmani, we are talking about that say empirical Brahma, that empirical God. So Brahmanyadhaya Kriyamanaha, what will it give? Sattva Shuddhi, Jnana Prapti, Sarva Sannyasa Kramena. It is called Krama Mukti. There are two words. There is what is called Sadhyo Mukti and there is other one is called Krama Mukti. He is talking about Krama Mukti here. So first is Sattva Shuddhi, then Jnana Prapti. After this Jnana Prapti, Sarva Karma Sannyasa. So this is the Kramena. This is the Krama or order for moksha, for this liberation. Mokshaya iti Bhagavan Pade Pade Abravit. So Lord Krishna has been telling. So we are also saying again and again. So Shankaracharya has also pointed out that Pade Pade he has told, and Vakshyati cha, he will also say. That's what he says. Atha idanim. So now he is switching over to another subject. Atha idanim. Now we are now coming to the end of this chapter. At the end there are three shlokas, 27, 28 and 29. These three shlokas, they are indicating, or rather say very briefly introducing the subject matter which is going to be taken up in this 6th chapter. 6th chapter, the subject is Dhyana Yoga. 6th chapter is called Dhyana Yoga or Atma Sanyama Yoga. It is also called Abhyasa Yoga. All one and the same. Dhyana is meditation. Meditation is meditation not on worldly things, meditation on the supreme thing. The meditation actually involves say driving away all discordant thoughts. It is something like a laser beam. We should always remember a laser beam in dhyana. Dhyana is tailadharavat tulya pratyaya santatihi. Similar thoughts, they come like a tailadhara. You pour oil from a small beaker and then it comes in a line. So like that tailadhara, it is just avichinna. Avichinna means it is not broken, and the same tulya pratyaya, the same similar thoughts have to come in the mind, and no other thought. While you are meditating about Brahman, you are not supposed to think about your boss, you are not supposed to think about some other thing, you are not supposed to think about what your wife has said. So all these things have to be driven away. So that is what is meditation. So that is why it is something like a laser. Laser light, that is the same principle. Laser light, all the light rays with the same wavelength, they go in one beam. So this meditation should be one beam of thoughts, one beam of similar thoughts, and driving away all dissimilar thoughts. Atat pratyayaihi. What is that? Asankirna cha atat pratyayaihi. That is, it is not polluted by dissimilar thoughts. So that is what it says. So that dhyana yoga, it is also called abhyasa yoga. Abhyasa means you have to practice it over a period of time. It does not happen suddenly. Even dhyana is something which is very, very difficult. We can practice it, we can try to do it also. Nowadays, the most unfortunate thing is we don't find time for anything. We don't find time for anything. Very hurriedly you do some ritual. Ritual, because the mind is always free. In a ritual, suppose you are sitting for some puja, your hands are doing some puja, and then your lips are also reciting some mantra, but your mind is thinking about your boss, your mind is thinking about your office work, your mind is thinking of your family responsibility, you have to pay the electricity bill today, you have to do this, do that. The mind is totally free. The mind has comfortably handed over all the activities to the lips and also to the body, and then the mind is totally free. But if you want to control the mind, then it is a problem. Then you feel the pressure for time. For ritual, you don't feel that much, because the mind is still thinking on all these things. But if you really want to restrain the mind and stop thinking about all these things, then you feel, this is something which is difficult. So that is why this mana, abhyasa is very much required. So it is also called Atma Sanyama Yoga. This sixth chapter, it is also called Atma Sanyama. Sanyama means we know. Samyama is restraint, control, that controlling the self. So all these words are one and the same. So for that, some sort of introductory verses are there here in this chapter, toward the end of this chapter. So let us read this. Atha idanim dhyana yogam samyak darshanasya antarangam vistarena vakshyamiti tatra sutrasthaniyan shlokan upadishati sma sparshan shabdadin kutva. Upadishati sma. So he says, he makes a small analysis here. Atha idanim means now, dhyana yogam samyak darshanasya antarangam vistarena vakshyami. Now I am going to say in great detail this dhyana yoga, which is going to be the antaranga sadhana for samyak darshana. So samyak darshana is the ultimate aim. Samyak darshana is the ultimate aim. Let us see that. Karma yoga is also a sadhana. Karma yoga is what type of sadhana? It is called bahiranga sadhana. Karma yoga, you are doing karma yoga. You are doing karma with all your activities with an Ishwararpana buddhi. And then you are doing like that, but by doing like that you are attaining some chitta shuddhi. And after attaining some chitta shuddhi, you also do some atma sanyama and then dhyana and whatnot. And then you say, do this Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. So all that regimen has to, there are 4 levels, let us say. The first level is karma yoga. The second level is not Shravana Manana, what is this? Say Atma Sanyama, that is dhyanam, meditation, controlling the mind, etc. is the second level. The third level is, that is Jnana Nishtha. Jnana Nishtha is, that is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. The fourth level is Samyak Darshana. So this is the gradual order, isn't it? So this gradual order we should not forget. So in this gradual order, this Jnana, Karma Yoga is something like, say when you fire a space shuttle. So something that is left behind, that whatever that shell, initial shell is just thrown behind and it falls somewhere. So karma yoga is somewhat like that. When you launch a satellite, you have seen it. When you launch a satellite, that satellite, ultimately what lands there only is a small portion. What lands there is only a small portion. All other things, they are all small modules which they fall off. So this Karma Yoga is a module which falls off very initial outward. So Karma Yoga is something which is there, which is leading to Chitta Shuddhi, no doubt, it is very much required, but then this karma will not be there in a Jnani. So that is why we say that Karma Yoga is a module which falls off, in that if you take the example of a satellite launching, Karma Yoga is the module which falls off. That is why it is called Bahiranga Sadhana. It is a sadhana. Without this module it will not go up. It is only because it contains a lot of fuel. All this fuel has to be there to throw up the rocket, isn't it? So, to throw up the satellite. So it is very much required. But then after it attains a stage, it is not required. So it falls off. So like that, this is called Karma Yoga, is called a Bahiranga Sadhana. Then Antaranga Sadhana, this Shama, Dama, etc., they are very much required even for a Jnani. Shama, Dama are very much required even, say, for a Jnani, even in the case of a Jnani. So it is called an Antaranga Sadhana. So Dhyana Yogam, Samyak Darshanasya Antarangam. In the case of a satellite, what is it that Antaranga Sadhanam? So all your, say, optical equipment, so all these things which beam, which actually say beam some images onto the ground. So this is the equipment which is an Antaranga Sadhanam, which has to be there associated with that thing. So this is Dhyana Yoga is somewhat like that. Dhyana Yoga, it is an Antaranga Sadhana for Samyak Darshana. Have you now understood it? Dhyana Yoga is a module which falls off. Karma Yoga is a module which falls off. Dhyana Yoga is something which is it is a necessary accompaniment for that satellite. So, Samyak Darshanasya Antarangam Vistarena Vakshyami. I will tell in great detail. Iti Tasya Sutrasthaniyan Shlokan Upadishati. Sutrasthaniyan. So, it is almost like a small sort of sutra. Sutra means telling something in brief. Saying something in brief. What should we say? Sutrasthaniyan Shlokan. Sutram, Sutram is an aphorism. You are saying something in very short, very brief words. So whatever is going to be told in the 6th Adhyaya, he is very briefly mentioning it here. In a Sutra Prayena. So like a formula, formula is the right word. So like a formula, he is giving it here. What is it? Let us read the shloka. Sparshan krutva bahirbahyan Chakshushchaivantare bhruvoho Pranapanau samau krutva Nasabhyantaracharinau Okay, here we are seeing what is told in if you have seen a book of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, you come across these exercises. Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it talks about yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, all those things they talk, isn't it? So this is what we see in that, say, Yoga Shastra. And we should know one thing, that whatever is told in Yoga Shastra is common to all schools of Indian thought. What is this? All these, say, exercises for restraining the mind, they were there commonly in Upanishad, in Patanjali, in Sankhya, in Buddhism, in Jainism, like that. All Indian schools of philosophy, they actually they have these common practices. And also in Tantra, given these Tantrics, they also have these practices. But of course, Tantra is a sort of erratic, say it has grown in a very erratic way. We need not go into that. But all these mainstream, Buddhism, Jainism, Upanishad, say Sankhya, Patanjali, all these people, they use this. Particularly Patanjali specialized in this. So that is why some of the commentators on Gita also, they have quoted elaborately, like Madhusudana Saraswati writes elaborately on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And surprisingly, Nilakantha Vyakya, in this, for this particular shloka, he has written 2 full pages. He has written 2 full pages giving almost all the several, say, aphorisms or Yoga Sutras. Several aphorisms or Yoga Sutras of Patanjali he has quoted, this Nilakantha. So maybe if the time is there? 5 more minutes. Then I will explain this shloka. Sparshan krutva bahirbahyan. Bahyan sparshan. We know that all these sparshas are bahyas only. Sparsha is what? a sensory experience. We know this matra sparshastu kaunteya. Sparsha is sensory experience. Sprusyante iti sparshaha. That which come into contact with the senses, sensory contacts, sensory experiences. Are they inside or bahya? They are all external. So that is why bahyan sparshan bahireva krutva. Sparshan krutva bahihi bahyan chakshushaiva. That eva we can bring here. So bahyan sparshan, that is all these external experiences. Bahireva krutva, keep them outside itself. Keep them outside only. So that is it. Bahireva krutva. Then chakshuhu chaya, chakshuscha antare bhruvoho. Chakshuhu. Chakshu is what? Eye. Chakshuhu, that eye means eyesight or gaze, your attention on what? Antare bhruvoho. Bhru means what we say in English, bro. Sanskritam bhru is the same as English bro. I am B-R-O-W, bro. So antare bhruvoho. Bhruvoho madhye. Between these two brows. Between these two brows means somewhere here. So that is where we keep our say whatever tilak we put, we keep somewhere here. So this chakshushaiva antare bhruvoho. Then you have to concentrate your eyes, you have to turn your gaze towards to this point. And sometimes they say, because it is something which is rather difficult to bring it here, they say tip of the nose. Because tip of the nose is rather, they say, again, this also we are going to see in the 6th Adhyaya, the tip of the nose is something which can be easily seen. This point cannot be seen by the eyes. So that is why you will have to strain a lot. So in yoga there should not be any strain also. In yoga it should be a very comfortable thing. The basic purpose is to concentrate the mind. The basic purpose is not to stretch your body and not to do various types of contortions and whatnot. So it is not meant to strain your eye, it is not meant to strain your body. It is meant to give a relaxing posture by which you can concentrate bring your mind under control. All these exercises are basically to bring the mind under control. The exercises are not an end in itself. Yoga or yogic exercise is not an end in itself. So what we see, say in terms of yoga now, not only here, but other countries also, they have accepted yoga as mere physical exercises. And then they have totally gone, say, away from what is the originally intended thing. So the originally intended idea is to relax the body, bring the mind under control. So that is it. So now there is what is called power yoga. So power yoga, you have to do some 20 asanas in 1 second, in 1 minute. So that is not the way it is conceived. One asana, you have to go slowly into that asana and you have to stay, and then only your body-mind complex is in a composed state, and then in that state you can do some meditation. So all is supposed to facilitate the meditation, and it is not supposed to tone up the muscles or anything. So this power yoga is something which is totally antithetical to the very concept of Patanjali. So that is what we have to see. So here, chakshushaiva antare bhruvoho, chakshuhu antare bhruvor madhye sthapaniyam, chakshuhu, that is, we have to bring it here. Then pranapanau samau krutva, prana and apana. Prana is exhalation, apana is inhalation. Whatever air we take in, it is called, this inhalation is apana, exhalation is aprana. So some time ago in the 4th chapter or so, we came across some reference to yoga. There I told that always say between these two nostrils, our breath alternates. So for about 2 hours we take breath through the left nose, and again next 2 hours it changes. The human rhythm, the body rhythm is so made that say suppose I sit like this, sitting on my putting my weight on the left shoulder. If I sit like this in this posture for some time, then even if this say this air flow is from the left nostril, after some time it will start coming from the right nostril. Or suppose I turn to my left and sleep, then my air flow will be from the right nose. Suppose I put my weight on this right shoulder and sit like this for some time, or rather I turn to my right and sleep for some time, then my air flow will be through my left nostril. So there are certain things, there is a shastra, there is a particular science. Over a period of time our sages have observed many things about the human body. See, in ancient days, they have observed so many things about the human body. There is what is called a Samudrika Shastra. If you have so many, say, chakras or shankhas on your fingers, what are you going to be? So thousands and thousands of people they might have experimented, and certain empirical truths they have put there. So similarly, this body, this rhythm, this inhalation exhalation rhythm they have observed, and there is a shastra called Swara Shastra. There are certain books also. In fact, I think a couple of months ago, I brought that book also and showed that book, Swara Chintamani or Swara Shastra. There are certain Sanskrit books actually written by very ancient books. So not much of research has gone into that. I don't know why. Not much of research has gone into that. So anyway, they talk about two types of this inhalation and exhalation. This when we take breath through the left nostril, it is called Ida Nadi. Then if it is happening through the right nostril, it is called Pingala Nadi. Then these two things have to be samau krutva. Prana and apana have to be samau krutva. They have to be equalized. Equalized means it should not be on one side or it should not be on this side, but should be almost equal. For that, they do some exercise. They do in Yoga Shastra, they do an exercise. Suppose I am inhaling, I am having this Ida Nadi flowing right now. That is, I am taking, say, air through the left nostril. Then I have to inhale through this and exhale. And immediately I have to inhale through my right nose, though I can forcibly do that. I can forcibly inhale through my right nose and then exhale. Then again inhale through left, exhale through right. Then again inhale through right and exhale through left. If you do it for some time slowly, it has to be done very, very slowly. Once it is done, then it is called, that gets equalized. It is called some Sushumna. So this is the stage where mind doesn't say waver much. So when this airflow is on either this side or this side, mind is very active. Mind is very general state of the mind is to be very active when you are breathing either through left nostril or right nostril. But when this thing is equalized, then the mind becomes rather tranquil. It is something which is an observed fact. It is something known to yogis. It is something which is an observed fact by the yogis. So that is what is called a Sushumna Nadi. You must have heard about that Sushumna. So this Sushumna Nadi, attaining that stage is that Pranapana. This is a stage which by and large, if you and I practice also, we can achieve. It is not a very difficult thing. Pranapanav samau krutva nasabhyantara charinau. This Pranapanav, this is an adjective for prana and apana. Prana, I said it is an inhalation and apana is exhalation. Where are they? Nasabhyantara charinau. Nasa is nose. Like bru is bro, nose is, nasa is nose. Nosabhyantara we can say. They are inside the nose. Nasabhyantara chari. That means that which is moving inside the nose. What? Prana and apana. This prana and apana which are moving out and in through these two nostrils, so they have to be equalized. So that is the meaning of this shloka. I think we will see the bhashyam in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnameva Madaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.